everyone, thank you for joining me. So yeah, this is looking at Invst 95L and its expected tracks right here. So you can see it looks like it is going to be going out to sea now. So that's good news. That's some good news now. So let's look at Invst 95L. This right here is some really concerning. Look at that. HFAI has 175 knot winds. I don't think it's going to do that. I mean, that is very unlikely. Maybe Category 3, Category 4. In fact, it's not even a system yet, so... I mean, let's convert knots to miles an hour. 175 knots is about 210 miles per hour approximately. Yeah, 200 miles an hour, so that's very strong. That is horrifyingly strong. If it really does become a really powerful Cat 5, that's very concerning. So at this moment, this is what it looks like. You could already see that there's a bit of a circulation, especially right here. But it looks disorganized at this moment. However, I think tomorrow it will become a system. Let's go to Mike's weather page and let's see when it is expected to become a system. Look at that, near 100%. However, environmental conditions are conducive for further development, and a tropical depression, tropical storm is expected to form over the next day or so, while the low moves towards the west-northwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour across the central tropical Atlantic. Additional strengthening, possibly to a hurricane, is likely later this week, while the system moves over western portions of the tropical Atlantic, near or to the northeast of the northern Leeward Islands. For additional information on the system, including gale warnings, see high sea forecasts issued by the National Weather Service. They don't issue gale warnings to tropical systems anymore. In fact, the last for Hurricane Henri back in 1985, just before Gloria hit, they actually issued gale warnings. In fact, there's a Weather Channel video of Hurricane Henri, Tropical Storm Henri. Oh, Hurricane Gloria Weather Channel. Let's see. Local on the 8s. Let's see. They didn't issue hurricane warning, tropical storm warnings. They issued gale warnings. So gale and hurricane.
Low pressure in the upper atmosphere, and that continues to drift off toward the west-southwest. And we think there's a pretty good chance that this might develop a circulation once it gets out in the Gulf of Mexico, but we won't know about that until tomorrow, perhaps, or the next day. Now,
this is Gloria.
East of that, north of Hispaniola and east of the Bahamas, we do have another area of disturbed weather, and the reconnaissance aircraft is going up there right now to take a look at it. Right now, we don't see too much indication of the circulation there, but we'll see. The rest of the Gulf, just about free of clouds, as you see there. Cluster of clouds here in the northwest of
This is what becomes Henri.
Kind of organization. Now, as we turn our attention to the Pacific, we have quite a strong hurricane here. This is Hurricane Terry. Top winds 105 miles.
Local on the 8s. From 1985, 3rd September 1985. And from my area, New York City Metro, NYC. And for the 1980s, it's pretty good graphics.
We're weatherproofing America. We're the Weather Channel.
Wow. Even though it seems kind of retro, that last lightning.
Now for Outlook.
The Weather Channel forecast for you.
Any longer. This is Gloria, though.
Gloria.
Continues to move toward the west at about 20 miles an
Wow,
hour.
it's well out there. Like, that's South America.
Indication at all in the last 2 days that this storm
Look how
is
south
picking
it
up
is.
any strength.
It's a Cape Verde hurricane.
Miles east of the Leeward
Classic Cape
Islands.
Verde.
It'll be about 3 degrees before it gets over there. We'll continue to watch it carefully. It won't be any big deal unless we do see a strengthen that possibly could happen the next day. Sort of mixed up at the front there, so we're going to forget about Fabian. Gloria, well, this not really too well defined, this storm, is it? In fact, just new information just in, the center is going to be located a little bit farther north, so we'll have that update for you in just a few minutes. So if you're tracking it, you're going to see a little bit of break in continuity. It's up at about 17.5 degrees now, as opposed to the 15.5 that we had on the previous advisory here at noon. It's still moving toward the west, and we still believe, though, the conditions downstream here would favor some strengthening. So we're going to be watching that very carefully and see what happens in the next couple of days. Still a couple of days away from the island, so not going to affect anybody.
John Hope, yeah, he died in 2002. Rest his soul.
And the Caribbean,
he actually lived another 17 years after this.
There, just about free of clouds, entirely nothing to worry about there. As we look over Florida, though, we see still massive areas of showers. And
its name is Gloria, and Fabian, if you recall, yesterday has met its demise. It has begun to get mixed up with a frontal system well out into the Atlantic. It really doesn't pose any threat to any landmass at all. But we're still watching a couple areas of cloudiness right across the Bahamas and also around the state of Florida, and of course Hurricane
that becomes Henri.
First of all,
even though Gloria formed first, Henri actually, the system that formed later, actually impacted the East Coast first because it was closer.
Back, but we're going to have to keep an eye on this. It is having some problems with the elements in the upper atmosphere, so to speak. We really don't expect any rapid development of the storm over the next 24 hours.
We have Gloria out here. Let's talk about that for just a minute. This storm has had really a hard time to maintain itself for the last 2 days. It's been in kind of an unfavorable upper air pattern, but we think it's running out of that now. And as we look at the satellite picture, we can see evidence that this is becoming a little bit better developed as it continues on toward the west at about 15 miles an hour. It's still a long ways away from any land, as you can see. It's more than 1,150 miles east of San Juan, Puerto Rico, continuing to move toward the west. Now, this storm is going to get in reconnaissance range tomorrow for the first time. So there will be reconnaissance planes beginning tomorrow morning fly out there, and they'll let us know just exactly what we do have, and we'll certainly keep you posted on it here at the Weather Channel. As we get on farther toward the west, the beautiful weather.
Now it continues to move to the west at 15 to 20 miles an hour, really showing those signs of strengthening, but we are going to watch it because it is continuing to move toward warm water. Taking a look at the Eastern Caribbean
Hemisphere, we've got action both east and west. Let's start in the east with Tropical Storm Gloria out of the tropical Atlantic. There's the location of the tropical storm itself. And just to get you oriented, here is San Juan, Puerto Rico, and back to the Leeward and the Windward Islands. Now, as we look at Gloria on our chart, if you're tracking it on your hurricane chart, it's 18 degrees north and 54.5 degrees to the west. It's moving now to the west at 20 miles an hour, continuing that brisk pace, and the maximum sustained winds are now 40 miles an hour. And again, that's roughly about 750 miles to the east of San Juan, Puerto Rico. It is getting into areas which may further enhance the development of this system, favorable conditions back in towards the Windward and the Leeward Islands. So we'll watch it for continuing development over the next 24 hours. But no, it's Atlantic. We have Tropical Storm Gloria becoming a bit better organized. At the present time, Gloria is located about 750 miles east of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Maximum winds are now 50 miles per hour. It's continuing to move west at 20. And for those of you charting it on your hurricane tracking chart, it's located at 18 degrees north, 55.5 west. It's continuing to move in.
Well, let's now look at the GFS. In fact, it looked like it was going to go out to sea. However, there, what I did notice was that right around hour 229, this starts getting negatively inverted, but it still takes it out to sea. So, or into Atlantic Canada, right into Nova Scotia, actually. Yep, boom, right into Nova Scotia. Or eastern Nova Scotia. So yeah, this is going to impact Atlantic Canada really bad. So let's see. There's a remnants of Hurricane Idalia. Idalia's, I would say it's a hybrid storm. Yeah, it's definitely a hybrid. I mean, it's surrounded. It's south of the jet stream. It still has some warm air surrounding it. I would say it's a remnant circulation. Or not remnant, hybrid storm. It's a hybrid storm. See, it's still warm core. Look at that, 20 degrees Celsius right in the middle. So yeah, I would still say it's a, wouldn't call it a tropical storm, but I would say it's a subtropical storm. So yeah, subtropical storm Idalia. But then, here's what happens. Right into Nova Scotia, and then Newfoundland. I mean, look at that. Wow. Wow. Look at that. That is a powerful remnant hurricane. And look at that. And then so this Cape Verde storm makes it into Greenland. Look at that. Let's look at temperatures. Wow, look at those warm temps. And this carries this right into Greenland. Yeah, this is definitely a sign of things to come for this winter. So it still makes landfall as a tropical system. Look at that. And then, this is when it just becomes a remnant circulation. It's still connected to the tropics as it gets north of Newfoundland. There, see, it's a separate storm. Yep, and then it gets it's in its last throes right here. Still has a bit of a warm core, but right in Labrador Sea. Let's look at 500 millibars. So still a tropical storm. You can see still a tropical system because it has warm temps. There's the remnant circulation of the hurricane right here. And then basically loses all tropical characteristics, even aloft. This is about the last of it right here, hour 270, I would say. Yep. And it just becomes part of this polar low. Yeah, so it's definitely going to bring some tropical air. Look at that. It's going to bring temperatures in the 70s into Newfoundland. This is how you know this is a tropical storm. I mean, look at this. Before, temperatures were at the warmest in the 60s, but then look what happens. You basically are getting a hurricane. Look at these look at these warm temps. You don't see 16 degrees anywhere but here, like in the desert southwest. And look at that here, 16 degrees. Yeah, this is definitely a hurricane. Let's look at the winds. So, yep, 106 knots, making landfall as a hurricane. Yeah, so definitely impressive. Yep. So it is going to be going out to sea. I mean, not out to sea, into Canada. Yeah, ensemble member 1 is scary. But so we got 1 and 11 that are very scary. 1 and 11. The rest just curves it out to sea. But 10, yeah, 10 goes out to sea. 10 kind of just stalls a little bit. Goes, tries to go a little bit to the west, and then it goes, chucks it out to sea. Yeah, one slams it right into Maine. Wow, look at that. I wonder what's happening here. It's kind of weird, though. You know, all of a sudden, how does it just move? How does precip go from here to here? That's probably transferring energies. Ooh, 17. So 1, 11, 17. So 1, 11, and 17. See, 1, look at that, 1 goes into Maine. But here's the funny thing. Yeah, there's a hurricane, you can actually see it. But then the funny thing is 11. 11 isn't something just a league of its own. Yeah, 11 has to go right into New England. Also, this goes right into New England. Yeah, 17 kind of has to go out to sea a little bit, and then look at that, it kind of hooks it in back into New England. More like right along the coast. Is this better or worse? Let's see. Let's see, ensemble precip accumulation. Let's see. Wow, ensemble member 3 has it going right into New England, so that's 1. That's only 1 impact. We got a lot of out to seas here, a lot. So 3 just plows it right into New England. I mean, this is a bad storm, going right into Boston. Also out to sea. In fact, on this run, the current run, the 12Z is actually worse. I mean, the 18. This is 12Z. Let's go at 18Z. So yeah. So we got 1. Oh wait, 0. I did not see the 0 yet. Oh my god. Okay. 6Z. So let's see how many actually impact New England. So we got 1. 15 with a glancing blow. Maybe a direct landfall. Let's see. 15 had a glancing blow. Yep, glancing blow, no direct impact. Yep, so let's see. We got out to sea, 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 out to sea. Glancing, actually no, Maine. So glancing blow. Oh yeah, this would have a lot of rain. Yeah. 18. Almost all of them are out to sea. Wow. Models are trending actually closer. The ensembles are actually trending a closer impact now. Five is very, very scary. Yikes. And let's look at the surface. think this one's going to go out to sea. See, you have a low here, low here. Crap, 14 is going to pull a Sandy. It's going to go right into New England. You see this low right here? Yeah, this is going to chuck it out to sea. Alright, so let's look at Hurricane Gloria.
Towards the Leeward Islands. Now, hurricane and tropical depression here on your Saturday evening may become a tropical storm in the next 24 hours. It's moving to the north-northwest at 10 miles an hour. So certainly 9.26 inches. It's a minimal hurricane at the moment, 75 miles an hour, but once again, we emphasize that it is increasing. Now, Charlie Welch watching Hurricane Terry, there are the coordinates, wind 75, and it's moving.
Watches developing conditions with satellites. Radar. John Hope heads the Weather Channel's efforts in tracking and reporting on tropical storms. John Hope, a veteran of 20 years with the National Hurricane Center, watches developing conditions with satellites, radar, information collected from the National Weather Channel. Your choice for severe storm information.
Bill Elias here, along with Darlene Perricone. You can see by our satellite view once again a better shot of the whole thing.
That is Tropical Storm Gloria.
Finger Lakes Treehouse is a small boutique treehouse resort. We decided when we moved.
Rely on the Weather Channel. Your choice for severe storm information.
Bill Elias here, along with Darlene Perricone. You can see by our satellite view once again a better shot of the whole thing. Now we have a tropical depression off of Cape Hatteras, about 80 miles southeast of Cape Hatteras. 35-mile-an-hour winds, and this is moving towards the north at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Not real worried about this. It looks pretty good as far as not causing storm.
Yep. Tropical Storm Henri.
Now for travel weather. Weather information. Really too early to tell. We'll let you know later. Now the other storm we have just developed this morning. It was a depression. It is now a tropical storm Henri. There you can see the center. And I would point out that this may look on the picture like a little bit more of a storm than it really is. These are all low clouds here spiraling around. And the real heavy showers and so on, and the strongest winds, too, are well out to the east. Some of these winds this morning were gusting to hurricane force, but they were well offshore. Now, on the noon advisory, also, it was centered 175 miles to the south-southeast of Atlantic City, making its way slowly towards the north. Actually, this is a 3 p.m. advisory, so this is right up to date. Making its way toward the north at about 10 miles per hour. And the pressure not quite so low, 996, that's 29.41 inches. Nevertheless, we do have out gale warnings, and they extend right now from Virginia Beach up to Cape Cod. And remember, the threshold of gale winds is only 39 miles an hour. This red doesn't mean you don't have damaging winds all the way up along the coast. In fact, the winds so far, strongest ones east of the hurricane, or east of the tropical storm, but because it is so close to shore, gale warnings have been issued. These are the probabilities that the center will pass within 60 miles of these specified points. And once again, when you look at the wind field now, though, you can see that the gale winds extend out well to the east, and they're not nearly on shore as the storm makes its way very slowly toward north.
Yep.
And Henri, in the meantime,
The wind is just simply affecting water offshore Virginia, Delaware. Not expected to affect
a Category 2 hurricane has winds up to 110 miles per hour. That'll destroy some mobile homes and damage roofs. Now, well to the east, and they're not nearly on shore as the
Came very deep in the sense it's got very low pressure.
Only on the Weather Channel.
And they start turning that storm a little more toward the northwest. That is probably well half to 135 miles per hour as it is tracking rather constantly now off toward the west-northwest at 15 miles per hour. But remember, as we get up toward Florida and up along the east coast, the winds increase a little bit at the upper levels, and they start turning that storm a little more toward the northwest. That is probably, everybody, a hurricane warning is in effect in the areas in the darker orange here. That'll take in the Caicos and the Turk Islands all the way up toward New Providence Island. And we've got a hurricane watch north of there, back.
Get back to your best smile during Aspen Dental's Summer of Smiles event with 20% off dentures. Book today.
It's a roller coaster being an entrepreneur making minimum wage.
Really tough, but it's important to trust your gut.
From the Turk Islands all the way up toward New Providence.
173. That is a major hurricane on a scale of 1 to 5, being 5 the worst and 1 the weakest. It is a 4, getting close to a Category 5, southeast of Cape Hatteras. Wind now sustained at 150 miles an hour.
Wow.
173. That is a major hurricane.
You're watching your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
held in rock.
The Weather Channel and get your updates.
$922 millibars. 150. Wow, it's under. Yeah, it's right near Cat 5.
And this storm system made its way over the past 24 hours on a steady course toward the northwest. Now, the course for the next day or so is still a little bit indeterminate. A difference in the track of 100 to 200 miles can certainly change the impact that it will have on the eastern seaboard if it does at all. If it does make its way near the coast, it will have a tremendous impact because this is a very, very intense storm. Just put it into perspective, Hurricane Gloria is stronger than Hurricane Diana was last year, stronger than Hurricane Alicia was a few years back, and certainly stronger than Hurricane Elena just earlier this month. So we're dealing with a very severe storm, and it continues to make its way off toward the northwest. So far, no hurricane watches or warnings in effect. Let's take a different view of this storm. This is the very latest satellite picture, the colorized view. North of the Dominican Republic, northeast of the Bahamas, the storm system really dominating the tropical Atlantic, and you can see the aerial coverage of the storm taking up several hundred miles at this point. No current watches, advisories along the Atlantic seaboard. However, that does not mean the storm system should not be taken seriously. It certainly should, because it does pose a threat to sections of the Atlantic coast and even as far north as southern New England.
Doesn't really look like a hurricane.
Right now, if you're plotting it, about 650 miles to the south-southeast.
It looks, you see how broken it is, yeah.
Toward the northwest at 15 miles per hour. There's its position if you're plotting it. Top winds of 150 miles per hour, gusts to 170 miles per hour, and the central pressure a little bit up now from what it was earlier this morning, but still pretty darn low at 929 millibars. Hurricane force winds certainly surrounding the eye of the storm, again as high as 150 miles per hour. Gales as far as 200 miles away, and along with that, 12-foot seas as far as 200. We get a better handle on what the actual course will be. Not much going on.
back on base or go up in first-time lead.
Please stay tuned.
West. I think those are north winds. Oh yeah.
We'll stop the update with John Hope in just a couple of more minutes. Please stay tuned.
Okay. If you're tracking this on here, it's 26.8 by 72.8, 600 miles to the south-southeast of Cape Hatteras. There it is. You can see the track the storm has taken. It is moving from the northwest at around 15 miles per hour. Now, there is a hurricane watch that is out now for these coastal areas from Virginia Beach down to Cape Lookout. And, of course, along with the storm, the gale winds from this system is reaching outward from the center of the storm about 200 miles or so. The hurricane force winds are mainly to the west and the north of the eye of the storm. Now, as far as the strike likelihood right now, it looks as though the Carolina coastal area would be the highest likelihood.
And that ended up
really
making landfall here.
Anything all
Long
the way
Island.
on down in through the Georgia coastal areas and on up in through the northeast really should stay in time.
Gloria, which is a powerful hurricane located now in the Atlantic Ocean east of the Bahamas. Here's a black and white satellite picture that we've had recently. You can see
A conversation with Neil Frank, director of the National Hurricane Center. The subject, hurricane forecast.
You can see Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3, Cat 4. So Cat 1, Cat 2. So it was about a Category 2. .919 millibars, so this was really close to being Cat 5. Yeah, so this... Please help yourself. Yeah, I'm trying to see what 95L is going to do. Let's look at the latest. All right. Ooh, yeah. Member 13. Not good. This is pulling a Hurricane Sandy. This is doing a Sandy right here. Look at that. Yeah, that's not good. This may also do the same thing. You see how it's swirling around? See how this upper level low just got trapped in here? That may actually force the storm to go west. Or like go into Atlantic Canada. But as it looks right now, alright, so current storm information, still in a disorganized area of showers and thunderstorms. It's getting better organized, but let's just check. Okay, this is in the Pacific. Your center circulation is right around between 11 and 12 degrees north. Let's pause this. There's about your center circulation. And the circulation is between 11 and 12, so let's see where it is. So your center of circulation, you could see the southeast winds here, and they're north. Okay, let's slow it down a little more. You're having south winds. So right, just a little bit south of 12 degrees, right there's about your central circulation. So with the thunderstorms, and shear is very weak. There is some shear, but it's very, very weak. But here there's some pretty strong westerly shear, east to west shear, but it's moving in the same direction, so but conditions are very conducive for development right now. So the center circulation is right around this area. Only difference is that all the thunderstorms are to the north. So let's re-update it again. Basically only one New England impact now. Let's look at forecast models now. Let's look at HWRF 95L. Anyway, guys, Category 5. Bermuda. Anyway, guys, I'm going to bed. Thank you all for watching. Good night.